And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. It is always a great day when I could talk to this awesome individual here. She is the mastermind of everything relating to the mother daughter ish
Mhm.
podcasts. It is Miss Dawn Fobbs. And Dawn, it's always great to have you here talking some TV. But you know what? Our focus is one entity today.
I
Uno.
like it.
It is the big guy himself in the streaming world. It is Netflix because Netflix has been making a ton of news this week.
Yeah.
And also, as far as I might want to make sure before everybody, we head on out as well. I know what you're watching on Netflix. So, with that
Oh,
being
yeah.
said, Netflix this week reported its numbers for the fourth quarter of 2023, and
Mhm.
they are beyond what most projections were at. They were at a whopping 13 million gained subscribers. They are at now, get this, are in around the world 260 million subscribers strong. This coming from the company that you once got DVDs mailed to you, remember? The company
Yes.
that was once could have been bought out for a paltry, what, I don't know, I forget what it was, 10, 20, $30 million. Blockbuster had the deal offered to them.
Yes.
Netflix was begging them to buy it
Yes.
and
Yes.
didn't buy it. Now they're 260 million subscribers. They're actually in the black as far as actually making money, because you remember for years they were just putting in so much content. They were in the red constantly.
Yeah.
They're now gaining profitability. They
Yes.
just announced also as well, for everyone out there, that they will be the home for WWE Raw starting
Oh,
in January 2025. I know that doesn't please you, but for
no, no, no. I
listeners,
used to watch WWE when I was a kid. I was a huge Hulk Hogan
okay,
fan.
okay. I was just
Yeah.
the
Oh,
look
no,
on
no,
your
no.
face, so
No,
I
no, no. I
apologize
was
then.
a huge Hulk Hogan fan, and I
Okay.
am not opposed to WWE. I'm just like Netflix. It's shocking to me. Like, really?
They've
They
paid, now
could have
get
brought
this.
in all of that crew.
Well, and on 40 years of the anniversary of Hulkamania starting up when he
Mm.
first won the title, which was this week as well, quite
Right.
conveniently. But
Right. Right.
so I just the face kind of weirded me out there. It's like you're like, oh, because I know professional wrestling does
That
that to
used
some.
to be Saturday morning watching, let me tell you.
Well, all right. Well, then it could be watching once again, because Netflix has paid. Now, get this: the contract is 10 years, $500 million for most international rights from around the
Woo!
world, including the United States. Again, starting in most
Wow.
areas in January of 2025. Uh,
Wow.
it could be as reduced to 5 years based on what Netflix wants, or it could be extended up to 20 years
Yeah, yeah,
based on
okay.
that. So they basically have control of
Wow.
WWE as far as one major show for them for the next possibly 5 to 20 years. So that's amazing. But Netflix is winning
Yeah,
definitively the streaming wars, with all
yeah.
apologies to Amazon Prime, with all apologies to Peacock and Paramount Plus and Max and Disney Plus and all that. It
Yes,
is,
yes.
the reason why most of these entities got into business in the first place, because they saw what Netflix was growing into.
Right.
Their fear was that Netflix would become this behemoth. Well, Miss Dawn Fobbs,
It's happened.
Net- Netflix is now this behemoth. Your thoughts on Netflix now achieving 260 million subscribers worldwide?
And you know what? I know maybe the audience might not like me saying this, but I think what has helped them is when they crack down on the password sharing. And the
Oh yeah,
reason
they
I'm
admitted that.
saying that,
That was part of their statement
listen,
this past week.
It has to be true because every podcaster I've heard say anything about Netflix, the first thing they talk about is what has happened with their Netflix. And one guy was saying that he's in New York and he had all of his family on his Netflix, but his mom and dad traveled to Florida. Mom tried to log in, couldn't get in, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I need something to watch." So he went ahead and paid the extra 16 bucks to add mom to his plan. So like it was that important for his mom and dad to be able to have something to watch, and because he was responsible for the Netflix password, he had to do it. So I think that, hey, their little plan worked.
You can I could hear right now behind both of our heads the
Yeah.
ka-ching from dollar
Yes.
signs.
Yes.
Ka-ching, ka-ching,
Yes. Yes.
ka-ching right there
And
for you.
then I'm going to tell you what else has contributed to it. For example, my telephone services with T-Mobile, and when I
Mhm.
first left AT&T to go to T-Mobile, I left because they were offering the Netflix for free. Of
For
course,
free.
that word is not true anymore because when I asked just 30 days ago what my portion of it really was, because I said, listen, I know nothing's free. What's my portion? And they said, well, your portion is what we pay to get the Netflix to you, which is $8 a month. I said, that's still
Mhm.
cheaper than $23, and I have 5 people on my Netflix, right? Now they just sent me a text message. Just sent me a text
Uh-oh.
message saying, as of January 24th, you'll now be able to get Hulu for $7 a month. So a lot of people are opting into the special programs with their cell phone, and not just T-Mobile offers it. I mean, you got Verizon and all these other people too. I'm just talking about my own personal experience because if I had not gotten that deal from them, I probably would not still have Netflix because my Netflix right now would be costing me $30 a month, probably with all the people I have on it or whatever. But I think all the little things that they changed that we hated and talked about, we didn't like, that has helped their bottom line. And in business, it's about the bottom line. And they've had some really good programming. I mean, I've had a couple of shows, and we'll talk about them, I guess, that have had me in a chokehold for the last couple of weeks or so because they've been really good series. And once you catch a good series, and then Bridgerton is coming back with a part one and a part two, May and June. So they keep us there by feeding us these part ones and these part twos. And so we stay there because we want to see the ending of whatever the show is. So whoever's in their marketing department that figured out here are the top 10 things that are going to help our bottom line, they need a raise because it worked.
I will say this though, one of the reasons why you are indicating, you've had to make changes to Netflix is exactly the reasons why they specifically outline, like, for instance, the high attachment rates based off of the mobile plans, like Verizon, T-Mobile
Right.
offering it as far as in a bundle package. The
Right.
ad-free, in some cases cheaper alternative start in buy-in prices, so you have to deal with ads. That's something for them. Not only do they get more subscribers, but they also get more revenue because ad revenue is coming in there. The thing that might go
Yeah.
away eventually, Don, is the classic no ads, I guess, deals, as far as the no ad rate tier that
Well,
most
I hope
people,
Netflix doesn't do that. I know Hulu has done it,
most,
but I
yeah,
hope Netflix doesn't do it.
they are starting to fade that away as offering that to new subscribers or people that are interested. They're starting to take away that option.
Yeah.
That's something that they indicated because they are going to rely more on advertisement going forward. Your thoughts on that, my friend? Because it is something where I know there's going to be a backlash at some point if they get rid of it entirely. I don't think they will. I think if you're
Yeah.
grandfathered in, you're always going to be grandfathered in as long as you
Right.
keep paying for it. But
So,
at some point, someone new will never have the same, or may not have the same options that you and I did in regards to a tier that without ads for Netflix.
right. Now, I'll tell you this. I really like the way some of the streaming networks are doing it, and I don't have a problem with it. They have the ads, but the ad is at either the front of the movie or at the end of the movie, but not during the movie. So I do like that. So far, Netflix has not added any ads or anything like that from what I can see. I do know that the free Hulu that T-Mobile is now offering, they did say to me that did have ads in it, and I said, "Oh, okay, well, no, I don't want it." They said, "Well, you have to opt into it to even get it." And I said, "No, I don't want it because I already have Hulu, and I got Hulu and Stars and HBO Max and all that as a bundle plan for like under $10 a month from the New Year special that they did. I just renewed it and got a much better deal. So I hope Netflix doesn't do that. But again, business is about earning money. And if they add the ads somewhere, beginning, end, middle, whatever, that is going to add even more money to their bottom line. And guess what? Customers are not going to like it, but a lot of them are not going to go anywhere either, because old traditional broadcast TV, we were so used to ads anyway,
Yeah.
that is just reprogramming our mind back to regular traditional TV. But I do say, if they do it that way, then it won't be any different than traditional TV. Because I can remember when they were sending the CDs to the home with Netflix. The reason that I liked Netflix when it came on, where we could get stream it on the computer, was because, or the I did a computer first, then the TV. It was the not wanting to see the ads. It was the annoyance of the same ads. It was the fact that when the ads come on, the volume goes up so high and then it goes back down. So you're constantly moving the remote to turn the TV up and down. So I hope that Netflix doesn't do it, but I'm a businesswoman and I get that it's about the bottom line in the end, so that they can continue to grow this, as you said, behemoth streaming. And I figure, in a year, if they keep this up, goodness on their bottom line, they're going to be so big that a lot of them are going to disappear. Like your Apple, we already don't go there anyway. A lot of these are, Disney didn't do as good as they thought. I just feel like Netflix is the king of streaming, and somebody needs to just kind of go ahead and admit that.
Absolutely. We've got some questions in our chat. I wanted to go ahead and knock them out for real quick. Devotion, great member. In fact, all these three are just awesome members and parts of my Lakers Fast Break shows. So truly
Awesome.
appreciate them while stopping by. Devotion said, Gerald, how long until Netflix buys the rights to stream some pro sports? I think the WWE, this
Mm,
is their first taste of real live programming on an extended 52-week-year basis. There's
mm-hmm,
been rumors based off of their huge success from the Formula One documentary that they put on
mm-hmm,
Netflix,
mm-hmm.
that they would, put out some feelers for the F1, but that hasn't materialized as of yet. This, they categorized when they made the deal for WWE as not sports, but sports entertainment, which is a key for them. This is them dipping their toe into something
Mm,
similar to live sports, because that's
mm,
the way the WWE films it and tapes it on a regular basis, is live, right in front of an audience of 10 to 20,000 people. It's literally just like a sporting event. Again, it is scripted drama, so you do what you say what you want about it, but in essence it is a great way for Netflix to dip their toe in the water on live programming on an extended
absolutely.
basis. Don, your thoughts on that, and then I'll get to your good. We'll get to our next question here in the
I
chat.
think that's absolutely true. And I'm going to tell you something, just like when they have the boxing tournaments and all of those things, or matches, I guess I should say,
Hmm.
um, when they have the pay per view or whatever. Let me tell you something. If Netflix gets into the game of the pay per view and they create a platform for that, it is over for all the rest, because people are going to say, well, since I already have this, I might as well utilize it to the best. And I don't mind paying, I don't know how much those boxing matches cost. I might as well go ahead and pay it since I'm already on that platform. I can invite people over. Most people now have a movie room in their home. And let me tell you something. If they do that, the game is over. They have absolutely then won. Okay, they have
There you
won,
go.
because they've already won people like me who love to see, the movies that are kind of geared toward the women. They've already won the ones that are going to look forward to that specific niche of WWE. They've already won the kids with the Coco Melon. Come on, they have pretty much gone down the list and picked and choose who they wanted to win over. And whoever's in marketing is thinking about all those niches. See, the industry I come from as a business consultant is that a niche will make you rich. They have figured out to go down the list of the niche and watch what happens.
Once again, I'm on with the awesome and amazing Don Fobbs. You got to go ahead and check out what she's doing today with her awesome daughter at the Mother Daughter Ish podcast. Problem Child has put out here that some have suggested Netflix to start carrying adult content to survive. Well, there's not just surviving, they're thriving at over 260 million subscribers, Problem Child. The thing is, I'm not sure if they will ever do that, because they have a ton
Well,
of
well,
hard R NC-17 content already that they do. They
Yes.
love pushing the envelope already with their highly
Yes.
romantic or sexy thrillers, or
Yes.
they love doing that stuff already that closes in on that I'll say the letter X
Uh-huh.
territory, but
Uh-huh.
they don't
Uh-huh.
need to do it. They just need to stay near that NC-17 window, or in that NC-17 rating for their programming for some of the stuff. And I think that they're going to be fine long term. I don't think they need to go into really that deep into the adult content part of it.
They may not need to. They may not need to, in your opinion. But let me tell you, since you can get it all for free already on all of the different sites online on your phone or whatever,
Mhm.
again, we're back to talking about niches and we're talking about business here. They've already got some very, 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 very
Very
interesting
risque stuff there. Yeah.
risque stuff there because one night I'm looking for different things and I went, whoa, I did not know I could see that on Netflix. So I'm gonna say it, you might not think it's necessary, but if they had just like the pay-per-view where you go into a different section and you can
Mhm.
turn that on by paying
Like,
extra,
well, like the old days when you went to the video store and then there was that section with the curtain, which you like,
XXX, uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. My daughter's at the very young. Where's that, Daddy? I like, you're not going there. That's,
Well, I'm
but
gonna tell you, if they do it, it's gonna be another game changer for them because I am tempted to actually do a show about state by state what
well,
people are looking at in that industry of watching, and it's very interesting. I just
well,
stumbled
you
upon it,
said
and it
you
went
said you
state
could
by
get it
state.
free, but we both know it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and whether or not you get it free off your phone or your laptop or wherever, that's your I respect your
Yeah,
wishes on if you do
yeah,
that, that's all you. But it
yeah,
is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and like you said,
absolutely,
if Netflix
absolutely.
feels the need for some more cash, then they might as well go ahead and put up the proverbial curtain, the virtual curtain on
Yeah,
Netflix, and do that
yeah.
again. So
And I'm gonna
maybe
tell
that.
you something, if they said for an extra $5 a month, you can watch 2 or 3 of those type of shows, $5 are gonna be flying all over.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right on that. Last question by Heavy Duty. Amazon Prime is dropping the ball, needs better content and a better
Yes,
library. Heavy
yes.
Duty, this goes back to when I first originally started the show in 2016. And I said that that time that I was really laying in on Amazon Prime because they were just treating their video, Amazon Prime Video, as like an afterthought. They had like just some old generic movies or straight to video
Right,
stuff. It was
right,
pretty much garbage because all they cared about was your Prime
right.
Video
Membership.
subscription
Yes,
for all you ordering and stuff like that. Again,
yes,
when it comes to Amazon Prime, they still, I think, even to this day, although they're so much better about their programming now. There's so many good things. The Boys, Upload, several good things. Mr. and Mrs. Smith is coming out with Donald Glover, absolutely tremendous actor. That is going to be something I'm going to look forward to as far as to see if that remake is worth our time. Reacher, they've got a lot of things that are better about it now. Gen Z, Invincible, so many good things about it now. But yes, it is still to them when it comes right down to it, Don.
yeah,
Amazon Prime is still a part of the equation, whereas with
yeah,
Netflix, it is the whole
it
equation.
is a
And
whole.
as long as it remains like that, you are never going to get as the kind of focus you want. I mean,
Right,
they have over 200 million subscribers themselves, but most of those, like you and I, are using it mainly for the ordering purposes or Audible or whatever it is we're using for. But as long as the Amazon wants to be a jack of all trades and a master of none,
yeah.
it's never going to get Amazon Prime is never going to get to that point where it can be on equal footing with Netflix, in my opinion, Don.
And, it seems to me almost that they're really not really competing, but that they're just like you said, they're just there and they want people to have the prime. I don't see where they're really competing. I feel like they just want a foot in the game because that whole conglomerate is all about having a piece of everything. So we got to think about where it started from. It started from just being able to order on Amazon, mostly books and things like that. And now that it's become as big as it is, another bohemian, I think that Amazon Prime is just a way of them saying we're going to get in the game. We don't care if we're number one in the game in that area because we're already number one in the other area. So I don't think that they're really trying to actually compete. I think they just want a piece of the game.
I agree. I agree,
Yeah.
my friend. But I do want to say before we talk about what we're watching on Netflix or what we
Yeah.
think you should be watching on
Oh,
Netflix,
yes. Yes.
Devotion says Don stole a thought from me. Netflix should stream boxing. Boxing matches are about $60 a match pay per view. If
Okay.
they don't,
Oh,
if
yeah.
they do that, or they line themselves with a certain promotion, Devotion, or if they get the rights to the UFC, because the company, remember last year, the company that bought the WWE for $9 billion bought previously the UFC for
Oh,
$12 billion. So they're all under one umbrella now, the TKO
wow.
umbrella.
Right.
So let's say the ESPN UFC deal
Mhm.
comes up.
Yeah.
They go to Netflix with the price of their pay-per-views and whatnot. I'm sure Netflix would entertain that option indeed.
I'll tell you something, Gerald. Since we're talking about Netflix and I'm looking more of it on a business perspective as far as niches, I really, as a woman, I would really like to see Netflix first talk show. If they could get in the
Agreed.
talk show game, that would be also awesome. It was something
Like
I
the
thought
Red
about
Table
it.
Talk Show was a great
Or
success for
anything like
Facebook.
that. That would be a huge success, or either Steve Harvey show or something. I know in 2013 when I did my very first podcast, I that was my goal, is that I wanted my business talk show to be on Netflix. It wasn't something that they were even thinking about, especially when it came to business. They were like, nah, they wanted something more salacious. Because remember, we are in the reality TV world. So they didn't want something like that because it was a pitch. So, if they did like the reality TV thing, if they went into, like I was saying, if they did go into the other m- things, I'm just saying, when you start thinking about niches, you're going to bring in more eyes. You're going to keep those subscriptions, because as soon as I say, oh, I'm getting tired of these bills being $20 for Netflix, and they go, well, guess what we're offering now, and I'm like, I guess I'll stay.
I will say
So
though,
I'm
it is
enjoying seeing all the little niches that they're kind of pulling in
yes.
new audiences and things like that. And as they continue to open up in more and more countries, remember, it really hurt them when, and I understand why it hurt them when they pulled their Netflix from Russia and Ukraine and all of that. And so they had to figure out a way so they may have opened up to more countries and things like that as well. Because I know I enjoy, when I'm in other countries, to just turn the TV on the hotel to see that they have the Netflix capabilities. And they've even got it on the cruise ships as well, because I just got off of a cruise, and one of the options was that I could watch my Netflix as long as I put my password in there.
Problem Child says, interesting that Netflix is thriving, that they thought they were struggling post pandemic. Well, they
They
may
did.
have been.
They
They
did.
ain't anymore, that's for sure. At 260 million subscribers right now. So
Yeah.
13 million subscribers in the last quarter, exceeding market expectations. So they are doing a great job. I know the Rebel Moon movie, even though it did not bring in maybe the kind of hours viewing, it brought in a lot of hype. I have a feeling that brought in quite a few subscriptions as far as
Yeah.
that's concerned. I do
Yeah.
know that the programming that they've had during the course of the last quarter was really strong, thus getting that large number. But let me ask you this before we head on out.
Hmm.
What are your top, I guess, what are your top picks right now that you're checking out or that you recently checked out on Netflix before we head on out?
Well, I'm gonna give you the very, very top one, and I almost didn't watch it because it didn't look interesting to me, because I give a show about 15 minutes, and if you can't catch me in 15 minutes, I'm usually gonna have to start it again when I'm in a better mood or something. But Fool Me Once. Have you seen Fool Me Once?
No, but I have heard it and I have seen it on
Fool
my
Me
algorithm.
Once is such a good twister and such a good turner, and it really caught my attention. I like to hear background noise when I'm working on my computer. This one, I had to watch it when I wasn't working because I didn't want to miss all the little nuances and things like that. I did start it the first time and I really didn't like it. And then I said, okay, let me give it a chance. I got a more quiet space in my head. I can listen. And I'm going to tell you, that's the last thing that I watched on Netflix that really took my attention. I even told my daughter, you got to watch that. You got to watch that because we're kind of watching some things on Showtime and talking about it, some things on HBO and talking about it. And but on Netflix, Fool Me Once has really since the Julia Roberts movie that whole thing came out. That's the next thing that kind of like caught my attention. But I'm really, really excited about Bridgerton coming back. I'm not excited that they're going to do a part one month and a part two the next month because I like to get it all at once. And sometimes even I'll
But
wait
that's
until the
how they
part two
get you
comes
to
out.
go ahead
I
and
know.
continue being a
So usually what
subscriber.
I'll do is I'll just not watch the part one and I'll wait till part two comes out. That way I can watch part one and two all as kind of like a binger type of thing and just have like a whole weekend or something like that. But I'm excited that that's coming back. So, yes, I did watch Dave Chappelle's special. It did not enlighten me. Now I keep trying to make myself like Dave, and I realize that I'm just not. I don't care about his comedy. I mean, I never knew him when he did his Chappelle show. The first time I ever was introduced to him is his first show he did on Netflix. But I don't care for it. It doesn't really make me chuckle or laugh really hard or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, that special was okay, but it just I don't get it. And so I think it's me. It's not anybody else. It's me. I just don't get it. So I watched that on I think like right before the new year changed over because I know I was at my mom's house. So it had to be like New Year's Eve or New Year's night or something like that. We watched it. But other than that, I'm just kind of like looking around at different shows on Netflix. Now, I'll tell you something that caught my attention last week, and I had to call my mom and say, hey, you need to watch this because I know you like that guy. Kevin Hart's new show on there. I watched that and my mom liked it too. So I was like, okay, if she likes it, then I know we like kind of like the same movies. My daughter, she didn't want to watch it. So, but his new show, I can't even think of the name of it right now. But anyway, I feel like it's gonna
That's
be
what I'm
I
checking
feel
out
like
right
it's gonna
now.
be a I feel like it's gonna be a part two, kind of like
It's
when
called
Dwayne the Rock
Lift.
Lyft, yeah. I should have remembered that from the Lyft car service. But it was kind of like it reminded me of the Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie that he did. And I said to myself when that ended, oh, that's gotta be a whole
This is
James
where he
Bond
leads a
series.
team of individuals to steal something, I
Yes,
guess.
it was
Yeah,
good.
they're a ring of thieves. They get
Yeah, it was
hired, I
really
believe,
good.
by the government and to go ahead and
Yes.
yeah, yeah, and
Yes, and it has
it's
a little love story in it too as well.
of course.
A lot of little sneaky things that I like that's like, ooh, not knowing what the other one is doing and thinking. So I do feel like and I hate to say this, I do feel like Kevin Hart's role should have been played by someone else. Just simply because I don't know why when I look at him I see a little 15-year-old boy, but I don't know why they always put him in these movies where everybody's towering over him, even his love interest and everyone. So I thought he was good in it, but I would have liked to have seen someone else play that role because I thought in my mind it doesn't matter who else would have played in that role if they would have fit the role better, then it would have made the movie even better. But I will tell you, from 1 to 10, it was at least a 9.5. It was that interesting. But I do know that that probably is going to be a series type of thing because of the way it ended. It's like, okay, it kind of made you want more. So I think he's got a hit on his hands with that. And, he's tried a few things over, Kevin Hart's tried a few things over on Netflix, but I think there's good cop, bad cop, thief person, CIA, FBI, those type of things really work. Those everybody's kind of thirsting for that James Bond mystique and they're not getting it because James Bond is the man. But it was good for what it was and it was good that it was on Netflix because it gave me something to really look forward to.
Once again, it is Dawn Fobbs. Please go ahead and check out what she and her daughter are doing today at the Mother Daughter Ish podcast. I will throw in my 2 cents here on the animation front because you know what, the one thing people have to give Netflix for is not only their devotion to the anime
Right,
genre,
right,
but
right.
they're basically their devotion to the animation, I guess, whole gambit of stuff because they've
Right.
done and been a part of so many great animation or
They
animated
have,
projects that they put on
yeah,
there in recent years. Two of them
yeah.
I covered on the best of pop culture for 2023 last week, and that was Blue Eye Samurai and
Hmm.
also as well Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Those two are outstanding, outstanding
Mhm.
animated projects, animated series. I think people need to check out. I know Rebel Moon is like, so if you were interested in Rebel Moon, you want to go ahead and check it out before the second part drops. That's up to you. I know I will be. I thought it was okay for what it was as far as popcorn entertainment. I know that's something that Netflix does a lot is they'll
Yeah,
have these high profile movies or these high
yeah,
profile actors in
yeah.
eh popcorn types movies. They're not really, I don't know. Some cases like we talked about last month with Julia Roberts' latest film, that
Mhm.
movie looked like
Sweet
it was
Lord of
shot
Fun.
in many ways. Yeah, it looked like it was
Yeah,
shot in many ways over a weekend,
yeah.
and it
Easily.
easily. And with Mahershala Ali, all these great names in there, and I'm like, man, could they have done something better with that cast? It would have been great, but
Yeah,
Netflix is can be guilty of that with these high profile actors, just paying
yeah.
them gobs of money for working like for relatively quickly on these projects, turn around and there you go. But
Right.
I will say though that their animation, they do not take any cutbacks. They do not skimp any corners. The Arcanes and they've just had one that was nominated for an Oscar that you can
Mm.
actually go ahead and catch right now. I'm going to bring up the animated feature for the Oscars for that.
Okay.
The Nimona, that's right. Nimona is the one that, if you get a chance to check it out, that is available right now on Netflix. That
Yeah,
was something that was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Features. So there
yeah.
is a lot of good quality animation on Netflix if you wish to go ahead and find it.
Very true. My son is an anime artist, and so he has hipped me to all of the anime stuff, and that's what he watches on the Netflix is all of the anime. And so again, there we are with another niche of individuals who love anime that can go to their Netflix and they can kind of binge watch it however they want to as well. So I just love all the little different genres of how they're pulling people in. And the other thing about Netflix, I'll say this last, is that I feel like they're so super smart partnering with all of these other bigger companies, partnering with corporations and partnering with the cruise line ships and partnering with the airlines. And I just think that is so smart because in order to get the kind of numbers that they're doing, that is something that they have to do is to do the cross promotion and to partner with all of these individuals. And on the other end, we benefit from it because instead of our bill being 20 or 30 bucks, we're getting it for 8 to 10. So, you know, there's no complaint there. It's kind of like it's a happy medium for everybody because when Netflix first started, what were we paying? 4.99.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know,
Those
stuff
days are
like this.
long gone, my friend.
I know they're
Long
so
gone.
long gone that I couldn't even remember the number.
So before we head on out, it is time for the magic pitch, my friend.
All
Why do
right.
people need to check out the latest episodes of the Mother Daughter Ish podcast?
Let me tell you, we've had so much fun and been so great and consistent this year. I've been talking about money and finances. I've been talking about discipline. I've been talking about trips. I've taken you all around Mexico with me. This Saturday, we have a show coming out talking about some tips on how to do a solo cruise, which I did my first one, which was on my bucket list this year. We have been talking about everything that has to do with helping women to be better, to, personal development and professional development and just everything that has to do with doing great for 2024. So we've got so many great shows lined up. I mean, I've got a list of about 40 shows right here that I'll be recording over the next few days. My daughter and I are actually going to record a show tomorrow while we go and get reflexology, and then we're going to go to a new restaurant. So we're going to be recording that on tomorrow. And then I'm taking her on a surprise birthday coming up. She's turning 30, and we're going to be recording from a remote island. We'll tell you what that island is later, but since I haven't told her where she's going, I can't say it here just in case. But I'm excited about all the things we're doing for this year, and we're connecting more and just better and bigger with women this year, and taking trips and retreats and things like that to just reach out and really help one another. And that's really what it's all about for me and for the people that are in my circle. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just excited that we started this show doing a pandemic in 2021, and that we're still loving it and we're still doing whatever it is that we want to do to come up with more and more topics that are interesting to people. And so we've been getting a lot of good comments about some of the topics that have been. And I just have been taking those topics from conversations I've been having with people, things that are happening in my business world, things that are happening on travel retreats, talking to people, and like making a whole show about it because it's real life and it's real conversation. It's real things that are happening with me in my life that I don't have to make up anything. I can just tell you how it really was.
Once again, it is the Mother Daughter Ish podcast. Please go ahead and check it out today, wherever you get your podcasts. Well, Don,
Excellent.
it's been great talking Netflix with you. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
Well, I would just like to say that if you are thinking about getting Netflix and you've been on the fence, well, guess what? You're going to be missing some really good programming because they've put out a list of all the things that are going to be coming up through June. And so I feel like if you want some good binge watching type things, or you want something to just kind of have to watch on the weekend, if you're like me and you don't really watch a lot of TV during the week, I think Netflix is going to be one of the best bets because they are winning right now. You could get all of the other streaming services, but Netflix is still winning. So I wouldn't say give up on them just yet because they are winning.
They are winning indeed. Once again, it is Don Fobbs. Please check her out and her daughter today at the Mother Daughter Ish podcast.
All right.
Don, it's always great catching up with you. Looking forward to a conversation next month on our monthly conversations on the world of TV right here at the Pop.